I play Doug MacLeod, father to Lottie, Mickey, and Jess, and husband of Abby, played by Rosamund Pike. Um, Unfortunately, their marriage is coming to the end of its life. Doug no longer lives in the family home. But in a show of solidarity and in a bid not to upset his fairly poorly father, they decide to present a united front, and as a family, they mount this road trip to Scotland to visit Gordy, Doug's 75-year-old dad, and his brother Gavin. So they pack up the car and they set off. Doug is a dad, obviously, and that's a huge part of his life. He's also struggling with the fact that his marriage is on the rocks, and trying to be a good father in amongst all that. And then, as the story progresses, obviously we see him trying to be the dutiful son. But he's living a lie to the rest of his family. They don't know that Abby and he are splitting up. Because they've got a real sense of what's funny, a sense of what's touching, and a sense of that combined with a story that actually is ultimately very moving, I think, and very something that we can all relate to and feel. I think they crafted a script that was instantly winning, but also had these sort of these tantalising little gaps where there was room to see just what might happen, kind of on the floor. So there was a wonderful, well crafted, finished script with these tantalising little opportunities in amongst it. You know where the story's going, and you know where the characters are going, and what's motivating them, and why they're in any individual scene at any moment. But then there are these just very carefully chosen moments where when you're filming, you can just sort of see what happens, and particularly working with the children, you can allow them to roam a bit free imaginatively. And I think what Guy and Andy are very astute at doing is just drawing those little moments out and throwing in suggestions that can take things in rather unexpected directions. But they also have a lot of suggestions backed up, so they can feed little lines in or suggestions to the kids, or even to us grown-ups too. And you just kind of tease these little moments out. Usually in the scenes where the children are involved, we try and rehearse as little as possible. I think particularly the youngest kids, I think, work best when they're not rehearsed, in a sense that you, because what you're wanting to capture is that freshness, that reality. So we tend to have the scene set up, the kids come on and the cameras are rolling already, and you just kind of bundle into it and see what happens. Sometimes that doesn't work, sometimes that grinds to a halt, but again, I think what Guy and Andy do very cleverly is they create an atmosphere where that doesn't matter. So there's no right or wrong, and anything that comes up you can respond to, and some of it you'll use, and some of it you'll come back to later, and some of it just disappears into the ether. But it's all coming from a very kind of relaxed, easy place where there's no right and there's no wrong. So hopefully that way you get the children as relaxed as possible, and you get them acting as kids, which of course is the delicious stuff on screen. I grew up with Billy Connolly. I mean, he was on in our house all the time. We had cassette tapes that were nearly run through. But no, I'm very excited. The very prospect of meeting and working with Billy was something that lured me onto the project in the first place. He's he's proper royalty in Scotland and throughout the world. But I think particularly growing up around Glasgow, we feel that we feel like he's ours. So no, I'm very excited to meet him, and yes, I'm thrilled. Rosamund plays my wife, and well, I mean, she's a proper actor and movie star. She's both, which is not always what you get. Sometimes you get one or the other. It's great to work with someone who is both. She has huge kind of charisma and charm, and yet she also has the acting chops to go with it. So I feel very privileged to be married to her. They have a great energy between them, so that's wonderful to play off. Clearly, uh, you know, Harriet has all the kind of freshness and kind of candidness of someone so small. When she's bored, she's bored. When she wants to do it, she's uh, fantastic and creative and funny, and then she's done. And you just have to go, fair enough. Why should you want to be here any longer than you choose to be? Uh, but I think what you get from that is a wonderful kind of reality and freshness, which you can't bottle. Nobody could act. So she's just a brilliant kind of fizzing energy through the film, I think. And Bobby, who plays Mickey, uh, is terribly professional. Actually, I mean, he's 8, going on sort of 42, really. He's got a great sense of what works and what doesn't. He's got a great comic timing. He's got a sort of deadpan delivery, which would put Jack D to shame. He's hilarious, actually. And then Amelia, who plays Lottie, I mean, she's got a longer CV than I have. She's been in everything and done everything, and she's got a poise about her and a kind of calm a sort of professional gleam about everything that she does. She's quite remarkable, actually. She's got a very and yet such a delightful girl. Exactly as Lottie should be. She's a perfect bit of casting, and she does it brilliantly. And she really does. She really is big sister to the other two, whether by chance or design. The sort of little family structure between the three of them has just worked out brilliantly. And I feel terribly proprietorial to them and very proud of them as my children. And of course, they put me in my place quite readily, which is, I guess, as it should be. Well, clearly, it's a very funny film, and that's probably the first thing that people will take away from it. But I think it's also got a heart, which is quite unlike what you see elsewhere. I think it's very true to family life. I think it reflects that without being mawkish or sentimental. I think it's got a very clear sense of what it's like to be in a family in the early part of the 21st century, and I think that's surprisingly rare, actually, in any part of popular culture. There's no sentimentalizing of what goes on, but at the same time, there's a real celebration of family life. Today, we're shooting a scene towards the end of the film where for reasons that will become apparent without giving anything away, the nation's press descend on our Scottish house, and I will be trying to defend my middle child, Mickey, and keep him safe from the prying lenses of the national press, whilst at the same time getting myself into a bit of trouble.